So, party pooped. Who wrote this episode? Well, Nick, you screwed up. You just had to write an episode so funny and entertaining that now people actually expect great things from you. Usually it takes a writer time to get into a rhythm, resulting in few episodes that don't reach their full potential. But no, you had to write a solid episode that wowed the audience, myself included. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll give this episode all the praise it deserves, but I'm going to expect good things from you in the future. Sound fair? Alright, let's get to talking about it. Well, there are many reasons to love this episode. What initially jumped out at me was the humor. I can't remember the last time I've laughed so much in an episode, mostly because I can't remember the last time we've had humor like this in the show. How the episode poked fun at the minor flaws in the way the world functions was very refreshing, not to mention the plethora of visual gags and continuity callbacks that are always much welcomed addition to the show. And also, the joke right here may very well be the best that the season has had so far.
Trust me, there are a whole lot of sheep out there. So, do we walk back up the slide or what?
Now as for the story, I suppose I could sum it up as creative yet predictable. While the conclusion wasn't something I wouldn't expect, the way the story arrived there was not only entertaining but full of surprises along the way. I genuinely felt invested in Pinky's journey, if only because I had no idea what was going to happen next. Seriously, the episode proves anything is possible for Pinkie Pie. I suppose the only drawback to this episode is the yaks themselves, as there is nothing entirely interesting about them outside of the fact that they smash everything that isn't up to their standards. However, they weren't on the screen longer than they needed to be, so I won't hold it against the episode. It was fun, creative, even a little quirky. That's a lot to fit in a 22-minute story, especially when it unexpectedly turns into an adventure episode halfway through the narrative. But it wasn't just the entertaining plotline that this episode has, it also gave us some character progression to take with us in future episodes. I always thought of parties as just something Pinkie Pie does on the side of her everyday life, no more than if it were a hobby or just how she unwinds after a long day of baking. Then came Pinkie Pride, where it became quite apparent that the average birthday party was worth more to Pinkie than most previously thought. But I don't think that even came close to showing us just how passionate she is as much as this episode. To Pinkie, a party is not just what she does for a quick shot of fun. She loves them. She's passionate about making other ponies have a good time and look on the brighter side of life. And it was nice to see the other 5 come to realize this, as they quickly found out that planning parties is more demanding than one might think. Now, since we're on the topic of characters, let's talk about Twilight. Ever since she became a princess, the amount of mass freakouts reached an all-time low. I'm not complaining. It only makes sense that Twilight be better at keeping composure and aiding problems from a more reserved stance, but there was always a piece of me that missed the mass freak-out Twi that the fandom came to know and love. Well, needless to say, I absolutely loved her in this episode. It was very reassuring to see a small piece of Twilight's insanity show through. Of course, that is not to say I felt as though her character had regressed back to its Season 2 self. Twilight was still trying her best to keep calm, even going so far as using the breathing technique she learned from Cadance. Nice continuity, by the way. And hey, even princesses have their quirks, and it's nice to see that Twilight is no exception. Though, admittedly, I never thought Twilight would be known as the Quesadilla Coward, a name that I'm sure will haunt her for the rest of her life. Lastly, we come to Pinkie Pie, and oh boy was she on fire this episode. Most of her jokes hit home, and the struggle of her trying to please the yaks was believable and a fun way to explore her character. Then there was the top-notch narrating, which made the whole scene feel more intense than it actually was, as well as show how Pinkie deals with problems that come her way. It was very nice to see that she still made a game out of life, even when it wasn't in her favor, a characteristic that I believe many would benefit from having. And it's for all of these reasons that the Pony of the Week award goes to Pinkie Pie. It takes some serious optimism to enjoy life, even while it's testing you, and severe dedication to travel across the country just to make someone happy. Now, for the official score of the episode.
Okie dokie dokie.